the difference about writing from the inside out, which of course I advocate, and writing from the outside in, which would be more formulaic. I have to remind myself to not default to the outside in approach, because it's only too easy sometimes, too facile. Now, what you can get is very competent, facile structure and quick pitches, I guess, around that. But what you don't necessarily get is that thing that Bill Kelly, my mentor from Witness, taught me, which is what is moving you to tell that story. In fact, I do say to my students early on in most of the classes, I have a story I have to tell you. That's where I want the story to come from. I have to tell you this story. Not just for an assignment. Because we know writing is just too difficult to choose something that you have no feelings for, because you're going to have to be doing it and redoing it. And this may be your big story too. The one that opens all the doors for you. So you might as well try and harness that which really speaks to you. And that means the form too, which is a great point. Because I marvel at some students who approach form completely differently from me and who teach me so much by how they've been oriented to the world. Right? Where they just come at something from a way that's so different from how I would come at it. And I realize it's equally or more interesting than what I might have suggested. Working from the outside in is, the epitome of that would be, we want a Lifetime movie, A Woman in Jeopardy, and it has to be 90 pages long or 90 minutes long, and it's got to be 3 locations. The first film I ever wrote was an action-oriented, it was an airplane movie that I'd been asked to rewrite with a friend of mine, set in the Arctic. The danger with writing from the outside in is that you keep forcing that house of cards to stay together the way you're determined to make it. But it's full of holes because the characters don't suit that construct any longer. Therefore, we don't feel anything. Bottom line, we're taking an emotion and feelings, emotions, and ideas. We're wrapping them up. We're putting them in an audience's gut, and they're leaving the theater with that, whatever you want to call it. If you're writing from the outside in, these tend to be more action films or formulaic films. Romantic comedies, action films, things that are more easily quantifiable maybe, that have certain rules that we assume are always going to work. But in fact, the difference between a Bourne Identity and a Fast and Furious is like night and day. They're both action films. But one comes from within. And that's profound when I thought about the character in the Bourne Identity. He turns up on the boat. Who am I? How did I get here? Where am I going? That is humankind's condition, based on this philosophical approach.